good? Should we turn the light off? No, it was too bright, remember?
Oh, there. We got some light. Wow.
We're live. It's been a long time.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Is that, should I close? I'll close this.
You should close that.
I'll close this. Just
Close that outside light. We like the outside light, but not right now.
that helps cut some glare down.
Yeah. I look like I need a tan. Winter is making us white.
So what happens when you're cooped up all winter inside of a house
That's true. And we just got back from Vegas and it was,
and the lights are shining on you? And
well, it was not sunbathing weather in Vegas.
yeah. So we got somebody. Tony's on. Tony F says, "Hey, how you doing, Tony?" So we went to we just got back from. I'm good with it on.
Okay.
It's kind of a cool looking coat. So
Yeah, it is. As long as you see painters.
it's my fly fishing coat
Okay.
for winter time. So yeah, we got back from Vegas. So if you missed us at the National Hardware Show, in IBS, we were at the National Hardware Show. IBS was going on next door. We did a cut-in competition. We had a lot of people stop by our booth and do the competition, which was really fun, challenging. And we had people, one person won $300, $200, and $100. So the guy that won, he came from Hawaii. So
Yeah, and he had a broken arm. So I think that was a big thing that, like, no excuses.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool because I saw him outside the show. He came up to me and wanted to say hi, knew who I was. And, I asked him if he was going to come by the booth, and he said, well, I can't because I got a broken arm. I'm like, hey, you never know. I said, do a left-handed, because his right hand was broken, and he actually used his broken hand with a cast and did it and won. So that was actually kind of cool. Won the $100. So it was a good trip for him. 300. He won the 300. So it was a good flight for him coming.
But I think people don't realize like the pressure of cutting this little shape with bright red paint, and everybody's watching you. The stress of that is a lot more than you think, huh? It is
because, I did it twice that day. And even the second time I did it, I shouldn't have any pressure on me because I wasn't entering the competition.
Yeah.
But I had you filming me and you kind of cheering me on. And so I was pretty nervous. So I was really nervous and a little bit shaky. And
yeah, there were some people that they didn't want to try it all. And then other people were like, I'm going to do it. So it was a lot of fun.
So we got some people. We got Henry J on. He says, Chris is my hero. Hey, thank you very much. Just trying to help people out, in the painting trades, just
different
teaching and educating. Lance's wall art.
Different Gear TV said, good evening. Thanks for the voucher you sent a while back. The tools I got are great. So thank you for sharing that. We appreciate that.
So,
I'm glad you got it.
Mark says, English decorator, always keep up with your videos. Thank you very much, Mark.
Lance says he misses our live chat from back in 2017. Lance, you're aging us quite a bit because we do miss it also. We just get busy with what we're doing, but we realize this is important. We need to connect with you guys because that's what we're doing.
So we talked about it today, and we talked about maybe getting back to doing it once a week again, because I think there's some real value to us getting on here and helping you guys out live, with your questions. So I put what I did is I put a little thing on Instagram first where you could actually pre-ask your questions on Instagram, and then we'd answer them live. So we're gonna see how that goes. But on this show, it was because there was a lot of crazy stuff at this
hardware show.
This hardware show. We went to the new Inventions section, and I brought back a pile of stuff, and I'm gonna only show so many on this show, and I'll show some more later on. If you follow us on Facebook, you'll start to see some of the real crazy things that I saw and filmed. And I saw a few things I thought were really cool that I would use. And then I saw some things that I thought were just really crazy, off the wall ideas. But I gotta say, my opinion isn't the only opinion. It's not the only opinion that matters. And so I started posting some of these videos already, of what we saw. And I'm merely posting them because I want you guys that didn't have the opportunity to go.
What's being invented.
Yeah.
People are thinking they're solving problems and they're spending those guys that are at these shows, they've spent a lot of money on that idea, thousands
thousands.
of dollars to get there. I mean, they could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we look at it as a silly little toy, but they are serious about their inventions. And I think it's important for you guys to see people are trying to come up with ideas to help, and some are to help DIYers, and some are to help professional painters. But we want you guys to be informed of what's going on in the industry.
And I think this is a good platform for those people inventing these tools when I post it, because I'm not posting like my opinion. I'm asking for your opinion because I think your opinion actually really matters. And I think these people need to see what you think. So the last one I posted yesterday is getting a lot of comments. In a lot of comments, people roasting the person, but it's kind of cool because the inventor actually got on and is replying to everybody on the show. So I think that's important. It gives them the opportunity to get the feedback, to respond to the feedback. And once again, I had somebody, yesterday say, I'm posting absolute crap and they're going to quit following me because of it. And so look, I didn't invent these tools. And I'm not saying that these tools are good and I would use them. And I think some people think because I'm showing them that I believe in them and that I use them and I'm endorsing them. So, okay, we got to just clear this up. I'm just showing you because not everybody can afford to fly to Las Vegas and go to the National Hardware Show, but you need to see what's out there being invented.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show
you. One thing. Start with erase.
I'll start with something that's just really crazy. And so erase the hole. So I'm not
I
sure.
like the idea of erasing a hole. I could go through my house and I could do that.
So the first thing I had to do was
I like the idea
laugh because I mean, if we could just erase the holes on our wall, that would be just so simple and easy. But it says on here, it says the original erase a hole fills holes and cracks, plaster, drywall, and wood. Apply, wipe, and paint. So, but I was looking at it and going and kind of trying to grasp my head around it. The guy was saying it only works on flat white walls, and so.
No, but I liked that he told me you could just put it on your wall and you don't even have to paint. And how many different thousands of whites are there?
And so look, you have to, I'll get it up close so you can see it. And you have to understand, like Lisa said, this is going to be one white that's inside here. I haven't even opened it.
Ooh.
I haven't tested it.
Put it up so you can see them opening. You see you opening it.
That's not the glorious part. So it's kind of like chapstick, but so what the guy told me, and so look, you just unscrew it.
Wow.
And there it is. So he said it's just Jimson. And so, okay, it's Jimson, which sheetrock, Jimson. And so it's kind of like, it's not pure white, it's an off-white. That's going to match probably 0 whites on the planet. So as soon
maybe one.
As soon as you smear this on your wall, it said, smear it and leave it. And you're smearing spackle, you're smearing Jimson on the wall. It's going to discolor. It's going to be flatter than a flat paint. It's the craziest thing. So
would you use it? Would you erase a hole?
And so here I'll wipe.
How expensive is it too? It was pretty pricey.
And so here it is. It's just Jimson, just wet Jimson, kind of just wet spackle, wet drywall topping compound, same thing, just in a hard form. Now I'm just gonna smear this on the hole, and somehow it's gonna like magically fill the hole. It said, let's see, fills holes a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. So I just thought that was just the craziest thing.
Would you use it? I mean, obviously you'll test it.
I'm actually gonna test it. $20.
That's expensive.
Would you pay $20 for that item? And so, but it came with all these disclaimers. It's only covers white, and the person standing there explaining that's not a painter, but there's literally a bazillion whites out there. So, and then it dries. It's already dry on my hand. It's Jimson. It's just going to be this chalky mess on your wall. Just
don't touch your pants.
Oh man, I got it's. I mean, of all things, like some of these things, I saw, I'm like,
But
okay.
so like how much, I mean, that costs $20.
$20.
That could fill a lot of holes. That's a lot of product in there.
Yeah. It could make a lot of messes too. This could.
Well, we'll test it. What's your guys' thoughts?
I'm gonna test it, but look, if you're a do-it-yourselfer out there, as a professional painter, you can test it because you can fix it easily. As a do-it-yourselfer, stay away. Don't use it.
Because they'll just make a mess. And
the one thing good about it is you can just take a rag and wipe it off the wall. But you could only use it on a flat wall and only use it on a white wall, which all flats are different, all whites are different. It's not going to match anything. It's a mess.
Yeah, that was kind of humorous when you told me that you don't even need to paint it.
2-year guarantee, so it's got a 2-year guarantee on it. So
Tiger says he uses cake icing. Also comes in many colors.
Well, that actually probably would work better.
Except you don't want your kids licking your walls.
Or your dog, or like, I mean, you can have icing parties where people can all your friends can come over. You can fill holes. Somebody can fill them with their fingers, and then the other person go back and lick it off.
Yeah, we don't want that. The excess, Jamie says hi from Boise.
How you doing, Jamie?
Lance from Walmart says he uses silly string for my holes. That comes in many colors.
I've heard it, and I'm trying to picture, because I've heard that before, and I need to look that up because I've heard it, and I'm trying to grasp how it works and stuff. But there's a lot of people. If you have any questions for us, I would just let us know in the feedback down here. I mean, would you use this? Because I'll tell you, the tool I posted yesterday, I didn't think there was really any use for anybody that should be using it, but there were some people, like 4 or 5 people got on there and said, hey, I would actually use that thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's why I'm not the only opinion, but I'm just going to tell you.
So George Hamby says, Chris, you're always going to have the negative person no matter what. And we do know that. And that's
I totally
why
understand
we keep going.
Yeah. And so that was what was
they're not stopping us.
Very refreshing about going to the show, because I think Facebook can be the most brutal place to expose yourself on social media, and I get a lot of hate on Facebook, and it was very refreshing to go to the show and to meet so many people that came up to me just saying they love the content that I do. They're so thankful for it, and so it made me feel really good by the
this is funny. So Different Gear TV said, I decorated a lady's house and she used toothpaste to fill in holes. Unfortunately, I could see all of them and the roller was just pulling them out.
So now that you said toothpaste, I'll give you just a little quick story. When I used to work in the jails, I wasn't in jail, even though sometimes I looked like I was with all the tattoos. I worked in the jail.
That was your midlife crisis.
And the inmates used to dig into the walls to hide things in the walls and stuff, and they would use toothpaste to fill in where they were digging on the.
So maybe this guy's client was in jail at one point.
Toothpaste was a very good patch for where they were digging on the walls to hide stuff behind. So yeah.
So I would see if maybe she's been in jail before. Tell her that's a jailhouse hack.
Yeah, a jailhouse hack. So hello from Arizona, Chris. Thank you for being so helpful throughout the years. Really appreciate it very much. So thank you for sharing that, Gerald. So
and
really appreciate that.
I think the thing is when we get on the chat and we see familiar names, Jenny Tootin's with us, Lance is with us, it's like, oh my goodness, this is what we've been missing
for years. So make sure if you see any questions on here,
I will look.
I have found rags, notebook paper, wadded up, used for patching holes. Always lovely working behind someone else. And yep, that's I've seen that too.
So let me read a few of these. Ron Harris says, thank you for your knowledge and great videos. I started watching you 5 years ago and I quit a factory job with full-time painting and going on 5 years. Thank you. So that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing that. Really appreciate that. Who was that said that?
That was Ron Hare.
So different gear. Were you able to smell them before you found them?
I think that's.
So here's another thing that I saw at the show, and this is a tool that it's I would say it's probably not for me. I'm going to test it because I'm going to tell you when it comes to caulking, I've done multiple videos, recently over the last 6 months on how to get the perfect caulking bead. And my personal opinion is there's nothing better than the pads of your fingers when it comes to caulking. Because I mean, what is it about the pads of your fingers that make them so good for caulking?
Nerves.
There you go. And I didn't even tell you that before. There's nerves in the pads of your fingers.
Yeah, I got one right.
They give you
Ding, ding, ding.
feedback about whether you're pushing too hard, whether you're pushing too light, whether you're getting trailing edges, dams coming out the outside. It gives you response back, and you can get a perfect bead by using these tools to scrape. You can't. I mean, they don't react. You can't go in and out with your finger as you feel it going. I want a heavier bead, a lighter bead. So there's no feedback. But this tool right here, it's interesting because this is a caulking gun, and it has two tools attached to it. One of them
handy.
Is a scraper right here. So attached to it right here is this scraper, and the scraper goes in, locks into place. So if you don't have your 5-in-1 with you, it's got a sharp kind of blade on it right here, so you can scrape caulking, say like off a bathtub or a window or something like that. It has an end right here that you can actually use to tool with to get a bead if you wanted a concave bead right here. So it's only one size, and so that's the tool for scraping or applying the bead. On the opposite side, it has another tool, and this is your bead tool. So this has multiple angles, multiple sizes on it. I'll flip it over right here. You can see it's got like a pointy one, and it's got like kind of angled and rounded. And so it says on it.
So you would run it like that?
Yeah, it says 8mm, 5mm, 90-degree round. And this is your finishing tool. And it's a soft rubber tool right here. So kind of like it's like supposed to be like in place of your finger, but it's interesting. I don't know how many people use tools to caulk with, but I'm gonna say, I would say most, if not all, professional painters use their fingers and wipe on a rag or sponge. But if your fingers are, I don't know, for some reason they don't have nerves in them, or you don't have fingers.
But I mean, I think the thing is it's a nice caulking gun. You use the dripless all the time, but I guess it depends on pricing, because if you could get it for the same price and you have those tool options, it might be a good thing.
Yeah, because it's interesting because it's got your plunger. So the tool, it's by it's by Newborn, and I'm almost positive this is the dripless gun. Dripless, it's yellow, so they have a trademark on the yellow. Maybe Newborn makes it for dripless, or dripless makes it for Newborn, or they all just get them out of this. Who knows? But this is actually a really, really good caulking gun to start off with. So this is a good caulking gun. It has the features I like in my dripless caulking guns. It has your pokes your hole in your silicone caulking. If you're using silicone caulking, it's a dripless caulking gun. It's like a polycarbonate plastic that's very durable and it's not going to break. And I think it's a 10-to-1 ratio caulking gun, I believe. It doesn't say on here anywhere, but it's a tool. I'm kind of curious if you guys would use the scrapers, if you use tools to wipe down your caulking. I've tried multiple tools like this. There's one called the caulking finger.
We sell that at our store, I think.
Not the caulking finger.
No, we don't.
I'm not a fan of them, but then again,
what do we sell?
Not the caulking finger.
It's just like
we sell it's the little plastic tool for running on your tape. It'll come to me in a second. Somebody might know. The cobber.
Yeah,
we sell the cobber.
I mean, I think this store, it started off the tools that you use, and you wanted to make it a full service, and so you carry stuff that you don't necessarily use, but other people do like to use.
Yeah, I have to say it like fell. The little scraper fell right here. I mean, it's on here, and I have a feeling like there might be some times where it's like I would use it to scrape a window for something, maybe not caulking or something like that. But it's a tool attached to the caulking gun. It's there. I might use it for something. I don't know.
Put it in a good place.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, you just never know. And so
let me read some of these things.
Okay.
Graham Schick says nothing compares to your finger. Brian Mauricio says, yep. And he said hi too. And Tiger says, would try it for corners. And Child of God says, hope you're doing well from Florida. So we are doing well. Thank you for being with us.
On this subject, guys, what rag is better? Tiger hate tying to get that off.
So like a wet rag. And so Tiger is a person on there. So yeah, just if you don't understand the question, that's okay. So you want to show us one more thing?
Yeah, let me show you. I'll show you something I thought was pretty cool.
So Emmanuel Ford said, I have a spinal cord injury and only use of my left hand with nerve damage, so hard to deal with hot and cold and sharp touch. I still will only use my finger. That nerve feedback is essential.
Yeah.
So I hope you're doing well, Emmanuel Ford. I think we should give a gift card away.
Oh yeah, we never did say that. Wait, we'll give 3 gift cards away
$50
today. So
Emmanuel Ford will be our first one.
Emmanuel Ford. We have a store, paintlifesupply.com. Go to paintlifesupply.com at the bottom right hand side.
It's in Boise.
It's in Boise, Idaho.
But you don't have to come to Boise.
Correct. It's online. There's a store. The store is in Boise and it's online. But on the chat icon, just message us. Tell us who you are. We'll verify it. We'll email you a gift card to use our store.
And what I'll need your email address, because that's how I'll send you the gift card.
Yeah.
So Emmanuel, thank you for sharing with us, and we'll send you our first $50 gift card to Paint Life Supply Co. Child
of God says, hope you're all doing well. Hello from Florida. It's probably nice weather down there. So here's a tool that when I saw it, I mean, obviously I saw, okay, it's a bucket scraper and, kind of like a spatula knife. And
I like the color.
It's got a handle. It's lime green. A lot of our branded stuff is lime green. I thought, that's all cool. And then I saw the sticker, and the first thing the guy told me right off the bat, he said, it's for strainers, these holes. So you take yours, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is actually pretty cool.
Something you would use?
Something I would use. And so here's, a bucket strainer. You put it in a 5-gallon bucket, and, eventually you're going to fill it full of paint, and then your strainer is going to have all the paint. And I go out to my van or my trailer, and I grab latex gloves. I put latex gloves on, and then I strip all the paint out of it into the bucket, and I take off my latex gloves, throw them away, throw this in water and wash it. And sometimes there's been many times I don't have any latex gloves, or the vehicle's too far away, and I get lazy and I scrape it out with my hands and then wash my hands off. Well, I haven't tested it. They just told me. So the paint's there. You're just going to take the top of the strainer. You're just going to run right through the hole. And then you're going to pull it right through, and it's going to strip all the paint out of your strainer. And there's smaller holes if you want to strip more paint, just like that. So you got 3 different size holes. I'm not sure what those other 2 holes are for, but those 3 holes are to strip.
So do you think we'll carry that in our store?
Yeah, I actually think
so coming soon to Paint Life Supply Co.
And so what
else is the other thing for?
This part of it, like when we start to run out of the paint in the 5-gallon bucket, we dump all the excess out. Then we take our brush and then we scrape all the paint. Because there's a lot of paint on the side walls, a lot of paint on the bottom.
Paint's expensive.
We want to scrape it all out into the next bucket, and then that bucket we eventually reuse and peel the paint. This, instead of, if you don't have a brush, this same tool, you can scrape the side walls and the bottom of the bucket to get your paint off. So you can see the graphic, they have it right there. It's what it is, and it's made by Warner. So Warner makes a lot of drywall tools. They're a big drywall tool. They also make painting tools. So it's called the Strainer Bag Squeegee and Pail Scoop.
So that's part of going to the show. We like to see you know, what new products are out there, and a handful of products you find are winners, and we want to carry them and make them available for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like before, like, you know, years ago, I would have thought, okay, I don't need that thing because I never strain my paint. And so it's just another tool that's going to be in the drawer, never come out. Nowadays, I can't tell you, it's like every single paint manufacturer out there
You need strainer paints.
makes really dirty paint nowadays. And all your paint needs to be strained. I don't think there's the paint I was using the other day. I was testing Bear Dynasty, and that was a pretty clean paint. I didn't strain that time. I tested it out without straining it, and it seemed pretty clean. But man, if you're gonna spray with an airless sprayer, you need to strain your paints, man, always. So yeah.
So Tiger says, do you normally include paint in your bids? I hear both yes and no, with both pros and cons to bidding paint. And what do you do with leftover colors of paint you purchase that you can't use?
So my entire career, once I hand the estimate to a customer, that estimate includes everything. It includes paint, materials, labor. It includes all my mistakes. So if I screw up on the bid, that's my problem.
But that's where you have to be good at looking at a job saying, I'm going to use 4 gallons, I'm going to use 3 gallons, and really knowing the products that you're bidding with, you know, to know how it covers and how much you need to purchase. And that's just a learning curve.
Yeah. And then, you just don't ever want to overbuy. I mean, the companies that I deal with, they're all over the place in our valley. So, I always like to underbuy. And as we progress in the day, I'm like, we're going to need 2 more gallons to finish this job. And then I'm typically always like just a half a gallon left over, because there's nothing like having 5 gallons left over, because 5 times, 80 can be a lot of money. And if it's an odd color, you're probably not going to use it. And so that comes down to, what do we do with leftover paint? So the leftover paint we always took with us, because most of the times, they're popular colors. And then at some point in time, there's going to be another customer that's going to want that color. And then we would use it, just transfer it to the next house. And, because if you got 3, 4, 5 gallons left over, that's quite a bit of money. That can just go and save money on the next job. But we always leave a touch-up kit. So I always leave a quart touch-up kit that goes in a box, a branded box with my brand on it. And I put stickers and labels on each quart can. It says where the product went, what the product is, what color it is. And that way the customer has this box. They can open it up, has my business card, contact information on it. And they always get a quart of paint left over on the job site to do any type of
I lost my feed.
Uh-oh, why'd you
Can you fix it? Can you find it? So real fast, I went to go grab our Brook brush. So this is a brush that Chris, can you just tell a little bit about it? And then I'll say why I'm telling it.
This is it took me 4 years to finally get, my own brush made. So, I went to many manufacturers of paintbrushes. I wanted to have the best brush, with my brand on it. So I wanted a handmade brush in the US. And so I flew out the premiere, got the tour of the factory, the grand tour, got to see their brushes being made, handmade right in New York. And, I got to
sign me up.
I got to know the owner of the company. It's a family-owned business that's been in business for like 50-some years. And just kind of hit it off with them. And I knew the quality was always going to be there. It was always going to be the best coming off the line. We would never have anything cheap, from the handle to the ferrule to the filaments. It's got DuPont filaments, the best, in the world. And the manufacturing is incredible. So
that's available.
It was named after my oldest daughter, my first daughter, Brooke. So I named it after her. So that's why it's called the Brooke.
Yes. And so it is available on our online store, paintlifesupply.com. So if you want to purchase it, you can go there. But it also is now available on walmart.com. They want to have some higher end brushes available for the pros. And so if you go on walmart.com and buy a Brook brush, and then send the receipt to us, go onto our store chat and send a receipt, we'll send you $15 to use at our store.
So you almost get the brush for free.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, just wanted to share that.
There's your chance to go visit Walmart online and see our
So I'm about ready
merchandise.
to give away another gift card. Edwin
Right.
says, I saw one of your short videos when you're at a show and displayed a paintbrush holder that's strapped to your leg and hooked to your belt. What was your take on the tool?
Um, so was that this show?
Well, you strapped it around your leg. That's the only show I've ever seen you
So
tie
and
something around your leg.
what did it say? I tied on my leg because I did a couple
It said,
things.
it said a paintbrush holder that's strapped to your leg and hooked to your belt. So you did one with caulking and you did one that you could put a brush and you could put the spackle.
The one actually, it was spackle knives.
Yes.
And I think you might be. I think it's really
Because he opened it.
it was magnetic, and
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, like, you can see him in the video. I was just kind of moving around, and he kept opening up, and the knives, one of the knives fell out of it, and I think both of those inventions were prototypes. They were actually on display, zip tied on the display, and I reached out, said, "Hey, can I, you know, try this out?" And he said no. And as I touched it, it fell out of the display onto the ground. He's like, "Well, I guess you can now." So I don't think he's perfected either one of them. And I think that there was one guy said, like a drywaller said, that that actually would be a very good tool for drywallers when you're on stilts. So you have your knives, right? And so for me as a painter, I would never wear that thing. I mean, it was bulky. It was the knives were moving all around and stuff, and I just don't
But
use
usually,
knives.
like maybe you only use two because he had like three stuffed in there, and so that's the thing. It's
Mhm.
like he's trying to help and solve a problem. And so, you hope he perfects it and cleans it up.
Yeah, I think the latch needed to be perfected because it wasn't latched and staying latched. And but it was interesting because I don't think it was made for painters. I think it was made for drywallers. So I think he was a drywaller, and there were some drywallers that got on there and were saying, yeah, there was a lot of them saying no, it's no way, and then there was a couple of them that were saying yeah, they would actually use it.
So David Bruno Rocha says, thank you so much for your videos. I'm learning so much. Recently saw a video of someone using masking liquid H2O on glass, and I'd love to know your opinion on that product.
So the masking, there's we sell um, the Jasco version and the masking H2O, and so it's amazing. They actually work really well, and so it actually, you can use it. It acts as a primer on bare wood and stuff, but it's kind of a very flexible, stretchy product, and you can see a lot of people using it. There's a lot of people that use it. We sell it and stuff. I would say it's one of those products that I'm just not a fan of and I'm not comfortable with.
But if you're doing a lot of those little windows,
If you're doing like French doors and stuff, it really will save you a lot of time because you just spray it on and then you trim it with a sharp blade and it just peels right off. It comes off really easily. I'm just not comfortable as a primer. Like when you're putting it on bare wood, I would rather use something that isn't so viscous. That's just getting in and actually soaking into the wood, biting into the wood instead of creating this film top coat over the top. It's kind of like, I think Peel Bond Peel Bond is and Triple Thick are really good exteriors to solve peeling problems and stuff like that. And it's kind of the same thing. It's really high resin based product that I would use for spot priming, but not. I wouldn't take a brand new French door that was all wood, spray the whole thing with that stuff, and then paint over the top of it.
So David Bruno Rocha, I guess,
Uh-huh.
You're our second winner of the $50 gift card, and you could buy the product with that gift card at our store and test it out, and then share what you think if it works for you. So how would he get the gift card?
So go to our store, paintlifesupply.com, and there's a little chat icon at the bottom right there. Click that chat icon. Just tell us who you are, that you won something off of our live show. we are actually the ones that chat with you, believe it or not. My wife and daughters.
Never a dull moment.
It's us, like, we're running around chatting with people almost 24 hours a day. But so just let us know, and we'll get your email address and get you your gift card.
Okay, so I want to change directions for a second.
Here we go.
So recently you posted, this has to do with even these prototypes that people are inventing, different tools. And, that was kind of the start of our store. You got a corner roller sent to you. You got different tools sent to you that you thought these should be available to painters. And so that's kind of how the store started. And our store philosophy really is to equip painters with the tools they need. And so that's why we're doing what we're doing. It wasn't our dream. Was it our dream to have a store? Not really, but it's been very rewarding, and it's very encouraging to hear back from, people that have bought in tools and that they have helped them. And, if you hadn't found them and made them aware of them, they wouldn't have those tools. But there was a tool that, somebody showed you a bit ago, and you gave some feedback, but on Facebook, it's gotten over 31 million views this past month. Do you have any feedback on, or any thoughts about that tool?
Oh, that was, so here's a question, just read that one too from Chris Clark. We'll answer that question before it disappears. But so that was a product from I Am Stain Man. So, he created the product, he sent it to me, and, I tested it out years ago. And then probably 5 years ago, and I thought there was definitely a place for it if you do log cabins, or
especially if you're a one-man show.
If you're a one-man show, if you're doing log, which he is, you're a one-man show doing log cabins, T111 siding, or even fences. I know there's a company we know, they just all they do is fences. That's it. And so if you're doing a lot of fences, so it's interesting that the brush attaches, to the end of this, wand, and where your spray tip is, and it kind of has this handle that moves up and down, and it adjusts your brush and your sprayer. And so this spray tip, and I thought it was kind of a fascinating tool.
Good idea.
I think it's a really, really good idea. I think it's a brilliant idea. And the product and stuff was just what I call not polished yet. It was made, in his garage. And once you get a prototype like that, then you need to go to an engineer, have it engineered so you can have plans, you can take it to wherever so they can begin manufacturing the polished product. And he was making them out of his garage and selling them. I gave him some advice back, and I posted that video, and it was getting millions of views. And I asked him, he's probably going to sell tons of them. And I messaged him, and he said he wasn't making them no more, but he said he had, big things coming. I'm not sure what that meant.
So maybe he got a factory to make them, because that was the thing. It's like you can't
just make them in your garage like that and do any type of quantity. 30 million views.
Quality.
You're going to get, tons of people wanting them. And what was interesting is I didn't think it was really necessarily, something for me when I tested it, but on that feed, there's a lot of people that actually bought him from him, and they're saying they absolutely love him. I don't think there was anybody that bought one that had anything negative to say about it. So that's where it's not my opinion. Doesn't matter. Just because it didn't fit, what my trailer, needed or required, doesn't mean it's not a useful tool. And so that's why I wanted to post it again, because I thought, this is a very unique tool that, maybe some people would want to see at this point in time again.
So what about this one?
So that's the brush buddy. That's, I keep, and to this day, I saw some at the show. There's always people inventing
things to hold brushes out of the bucket,
magnetic and stuff. And still to this day, the brush buddy is the best brush holder I've ever seen or used, and it's copper, so it'll bend. You can screw it on, or now it comes with 3M adhesive on the back of it and 2 screws. So I know there's people saying they would never screw 2 screws in the brush. So it comes with a 3M adhesive that sticks on there and it's going to stay on. Or you can use the adhesive and the screws if you want. So the Brush Buddy still
that's available at our online store.
Yeah, and
paintlifesupply.com.
yeah, and you can unscrew it and stick it to the next brush if you want. I just have them on most of my brushes, just hooks right into the bucket itself, and it never gets in the way of me cutting in and stuff. It's great little device made out of copper, brushed copper.
So you wanted me to read Chris Clark, wainscoting. Do you spray, roll, or brush it? Also, do you try to fill in the grain, or is that more customer dependent?
I think that's customer expectations. If the customer expectations don't want it to look like wood and it to be like a paint grade MDF or something like that, you're going to have to grain fill, or fill with your coating
I
itself.
was your customer.
Yeah, but you did, yeah.
And I didn't want you to make it look all.
We wanted to have that kind of a rustic look to it.
Yeah.
And so a wood rustic look, and we didn't Bondo any of it, but without a doubt, I'd spray it. To me, I sprayed it, but then eventually I wanted a different look to it. So I went back and brushed it all because I wanted it to have a hand brush look to it, make it look a little bit more rustic. So it's really customer dependent. I mean, when I was painting wainscoting in new construction, it was always sprayed, always, because you want that glassy, like automobile like finish to it. So we would spackle it, then we'd Bondo it, then we would sand it, all the seams, we would caulk it, and top and bottom, and then we would spray multiple coats on it and get a glassy finish on it.
So talking about spraying, you were in Premier's booth talking about, and they're the ones that make our brush and our roller covers. And then you were in Paint Line's booth, and they're coming out with a new system. It was the prototype of spraying doors up. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so if you want to actually see it, it's on Facebook. So, I've had quite a bit of input with it. The one thing nice about Paint Line is I know Kyle very well. He's like a good friend, and he's the owner of the company, and he's engineering the products. And he actually likes to get my feedback. And typically most of the time he implements the feedback that I give him. And so I had a lot to do with the development of the spray booth, the PSDR system. And he's got a cart coming that transports your doors coming out. Been given input on that. And then this standing up system where you can take not a cabinet door, but your regular house doors. And it stands on this thing that you can spin with your foot. It twirls and spins around, so you can spray the door just in one place. So to see it,
they need to go to Facebook or Instagram, probably.
Yeah, and it has two tools.
I think it's on YouTube. Short.
It might be on YouTube also. So it has two tools, one that goes in where the doorknob goes and one where the hinge is, and it lifts up, and there's two devices that screw on the bottom of the door. So when you take it off, it stands up freely on its own. So you spray it on this device, you spin it so you can get all four edges, top and bottom, and then remove it, stand it up. And it's
And how many of those stands are going to come with it? Do you know?
I believe 50. I believe. But don't quote me. I think the system, when you see it, I think it's like $700. I think for that whole system.
They haven't finalized it, but is it something that you think it's very important to have?
I think the two that we're talking about, I think they are finalized. They're being shipped here right now. They're going to be for sale.
Stay tuned.
So I think you're going to see them. You'll probably see them in our store with somewhere around 3 to 6 months, because I think they're on their way from the manufacturing facility. So they're all dialed in. The hand cart, you can actually put doors in them, cabinet doors, and it locks them into place, and then it wheels, and you can put it right in a trailer or a truck and transport your cabinet doors. It's actually pretty dang cool.
So stay tuned. Paint Line, his goal is to help finishers, to help painters out in the field so that they can look professional, they could get into the job and do it as fast and as efficient. I think that's where he's done such a great job you don't need tools for these
Right.
things to assemble.
So, Chris says regarding spraying, how do you determine whether to use a handheld airless or a traditional airless like a Titan 440? I'll tell you right now, I had a handheld airless in the back of my trailer probably for 4 years now, and I broke it out for the first time to do one window because I had one window to do on the inside of a garage. And the handheld sprayer, you have to understand, it runs. It's a little tiny pump, and it runs at low pressures. And the little tiny pump is just this big. It's literally not going to last you very long.
Small projects.
Very small projects. I've burn out two of those pumps in less than 20 gallons. I see people, painting whole bedrooms with them. It's an absolute no. That thing was not designed for that. It was designed like if you
Furniture.
uh, I mean, small furniture. Say if you forgot you were doing 20 doors new construction and one door got missed or one door had a drip on one side and you had to reshoot one side and your airless sprayer is all cleaned up. But the handheld, it takes you just as much time to clean it up, if not longer to clean up, and it's a little more annoying than a regular airless sprayer. And the thing about the handheld is you don't have to have an extension cord. You don't have to plug it in. You can climb a ladder with it. You can go over this other side of the house with it. You can go anywhere with it and just spray. And it does give you a pretty decent finish. It's not going to give you a quality finish like an airless sprayer that can run at higher pressures and atomize your paint, properly. And so it all depends on the quality of the finish you're after. But like I tested it once. I sprayed a shed. That was just I actually burn it out spraying the shed. The shed's not very big, but if you missed a windowsill, you got a fly landed on the windowsill. You didn't want to reshoot the whole window. Just mask off that windowsill, sand it, bond to it, and just reshoot the sill. I would use it for that. So something got missed up on high on a 2-story house. A wooden vent needed to be reshot, and he climbed up there with a handheld and shot that wooden vent. But I'll tell you what, that thing was dang heavy, and I was just shooting one vent, and my shoulder and arm were exhausted, and I am weak, and so it's kind of heavy. But so to me, like if it was $200, I can see the investing the money into it, but you're like investing amount of money where you're almost in a full size sprayer that's going to last you like 20 years versus something that's literally going to last you 20 gallons at most. So to me, it's just it's a tool that's not for me. I know there's a lot of people out there buying them and using them, and it works great for them.
Ernie
So.
said he used to paint baseboards before I install them, or he's used it, and there's a few tricks for easier cleanup. So yeah, share those easier tricks because
Yeah, I know the last time, I was, you're shaking it, trying because the little parts, you're trying to flush it out, you're turning it upside down. I was getting, it was new. I didn't want to get paint all over it. I was getting frustrated because it was getting paint on it and stuff. And so I was a little bit frustrated with that. And so, yeah, I think it's just like anything. The more you use it, the more comfortable you're going to get and faster you're going to get with it. I just thought, it's just the same amount of time cleaning up, so that should not be a selling point to you. I think it's the convenience to go anywhere with it and to actually use a tiny bit of product, so you could load up just
yeah,
like
that's a
half
that's a
pint
selling
of
point
paint
right
in it.
there.
You squeeze it, all the air out of it. Small quantities. You can't load up an airless sprayer with a half a pint. So that's where it comes into play.
Yeah. So I have one more
Can
gift
I
card.
show my toy? I've been spinning it
Okay,
for.
that's your last toy. We're gonna have to our next show.
The next show, show some
The
more.
next show we'll show some more, but we have one more gift card that we have to give away.
So this is something, and this is a prototype, and I was so thankful the guy gave it to me, and to bring home because I was absolutely blown away by it, and I think there's just a slight improvement to it. I think the handle's a little bit. I think it needs just to be a little bit more professional to handle, but the rest of this, well built. But check it out.
Bearings, baby.
They're seal bearings. So I was absolutely blown away. And, some people might think, well, big deal. It's like, but I said, can water get in there and like rust them out? No, they're sealed. I said, was paint going to get in there and make it so it doesn't spin? He's like, no, they're sealed bearings. So
Why?
where this comes
Why?
into play, if you're familiar with using microfiber rollers, which I was just recently testing out Premier's Ultra Micro microfiber
You
roller.
liked it?
Absolutely loved it with this one coat paint I was using. The paint actually was a great paint. It actually did cover one coat. Believe it or not, it did. The Ultra Micro is probably one of the best rollers I ever used for this type of application. But microfiber is really weird. When you're trying to load it up in the pan, it wants to slide in the pan. It doesn't just like it's weird. It kind of
Does
like
it want to roll and pick it up?
yeah, it has like microfiber has all these little fingers that are what grab paint and hold on to paint. And the little fingers are what release the paint. I have a tendency these little fingers are like grabbing my pan and not allowing the roller to roll. And when you start to roll on the wall, it has a tendency to drag a little bit on the wall, especially like on a smooth wall. And I was like, this is absolutely brilliant. If you have microfiber rollers, if you like using them, man, this is the bomb. And I was like looking at that going, man, with these steel bearings in there, I would literally pay 3 times more for this roller. I would have all these as my roller. I'd be willing to pay 3 times more for this thing, and I absolutely love the Blue Tiger. The Blue Tiger is the roller I like. I like the Blue Tiger handle on here, and I would like the Blue Tiger to have seal bearings, man. Then you would have the bomb of a roller. And so I actually got this thing from the guy that makes the Stinger brush. And so this was something I don't know. He said it was a prototype, and if he starts to sell it, I'm going to get a hold of it, and we'll be selling it because that's the best roller I've ever seen. And even the cap of it, the quality of the end cap, I mean, it's nice, man. This has the right amount of flex to it. It does need that kind of that locking mechanism that the Blue Tiger has on the end right here that locks your roller on. Because I'd be afraid that if you're not paying attention, if you're rolling this direction, your roller might slide off. So I would improve that, improve the handle, and you got yourself a 5-star product right there. Kablam.
Kablam.
And that was, like I say, that was from the guy that made the Stinger brush. So I don't know if he's the one that's created this. I don't know where he said this is a prototype that he's going to have soon. So I'll find out like someday.
So next week we're going to do a live show, and we'll go over some more of the products that you got from the hardware show. You do have questions on the Instagram feed for the live show, so we'll collect those. And next week when we do the live show, you can answer those. So if you have any questions, follow him on Instagram.
So I think like my whole idea is hopefully we're going to be, our plan is to do this once a week now. And this feed is it's got a lot of people on it. So, we can't always get everybody's questions answered, but what we're going to do is we'll take the Instagram questions, and those will be our priority. We'll answer those first, and then we'll answer.
So I have our last question, and with the last question, we're going to give away a $50 gift card to Ricardo Campos. Hi guys, thanks so much for the stream. Question: how to avoid floor plastic cover to flow over by the gun air? Thanks so much for the stream. How to avoid floor plastic cover to flow away by the gun air. So to keep it tacked down.
Yeah, so it's same with the drop cloth. It's interesting because you will lay our runners down and you're spraying the baseboards, and you got 2200 psi and it's blowing your drop cloths down. We actually tape our drop cloths down. So we run tape around the edge of the floor. We run our 9-inch paper, and then we take our drop cloths, lay them down, and then we actually tape our drop cloths to the paper. And so it's tape. Here's I'll say tape, but we do this a lot. This is a trick right here that some people may know, but we use and spray adhesive. So when we're tacking our furniture down and stuff like that, when we're trying to get the overlapping plastic to, so it doesn't blow apart, we spray, the adhesive on the plastic, throw the other plastic down, it sticks to itself. You run spray adhesive on your paper. If you're using plastic, lay your plastic right on top of it. It sticks right to the paper.
So Ricardo, you got a $50 gift card too.
Our paintlifesupply.com. Just
and we sell
chat.
The adhesive
and the plastic. So
there you go.
That spray adhesive, we use it to build our booths with. I mean, there's a lot of applications, tacking the plastic with spray adhesive. So you can, when you're doing your ceilings, you're going to spray ceilings after your walls. That's what we typically do. Run 9-inch paper around your ceiling, and then you just run, your spray adhesive on the paper around your room. Do your 9x400 plastic, just tack it to your paper all the way around, and it's way faster than using tape in a lot of applications, and it's a brilliant way to tack.
So if you told Ricardo how to get his gift card,
go to the chat icon, email on that chat icon, we'll ask you for your email, verify who you are, and then we'll email you your gift card.
So paintlifesupply.com.
Brian,
we're going to need your email, so make sure email us and we'll email the gift card. But thank you everybody for being with us.
Cut the plastic and tape down in the cut. So
this is the last one. Ben DeLeo says, watched a few of your videos back in 2010, so we're not aging you at all. Inspired me, and I've painted 3 houses since using your tips. Love you guys. Thank you so much for sharing. I think that's exactly why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, so I really appreciate it. We got people answering other people's questions. Thank you, Brian, for answering people's questions, being on. Really appreciate it. We're going to try to make it, a weekly thing. I'm not sure what time is going to work best for people. We did it a little bit earlier
because I'm going to head out of town right now.
Yeah, we did it earlier today because you're leaving town. So
yep, going up to the mountains.
So
got to see my grandbaby.
How do I get busy? So somebody just came into our store today, and I was telling them, it slowed down from a little bit. Door hangers, Jose, it's like door hangers. Door hangers are king.
Well, and this is what I told. He's the gentleman's currently doing a cabinet, and it's like, do you have a sign in front of the house? Because most people in the neighborhoods, they're working all day, so they don't know the painter that's working in the neighborhood, and so you should have like a realtor sign and put it in front of the house that you're working, so that when people come home from work, oh, there's somebody working on that house. Mm-hmm. And then he would do door hangers, 5 on each side and 10 across the street. And so the people would get a door hanger and they'd be like, oh, that painter was painting across the street. And they could, if you do a good job at a good price, they'll go to the neighbor and say, did you like the painter? And if they say yes, that's how you get in the neighborhood. So a little bit of hustle, a little bit of work. I know for us, January was always the slowest, and not January, December, because everybody's, doing the holidays and they're not really wanting painting in your house. And so now is the time to start marketing yourself. But door hangers. Thank you for being with us, and have a great night.
We'll see you all hopefully next week right here on our live stream, and hopefully business.
Paint Life TV.
Hopefully business as well for you guys, and ask your questions on Instagram. They're still available. It'll be available 24 hours on Instagram story if you want your questions answered there.
For next week, and then Chris will pull out some more gadgets from his bag that he got.
Yeah, so we'll see you guys next week.
Good night.